Hey guys, it's David here, back in with another episode of the Cerebral Palsy and Fitness podcast. Here I have Mr. Doug Setter, who's a former drill instructor turned motivational speaker, and he's going to share with us some techniques on stomach flattening, some experiences he's had as far as his background, his profession, and also getting into fitness. So, Doug, welcome.
Thanks for having me, David. It's an honor to meet you and be on
I,
this
I
meeting.
I know I'm excited as well. I'm looking forward to learning about your experience and your background. So feel free to share a little bit about how you got into I guess the very beginning of your fitness journey, so to say, and your motivational speaking.
Well, I was originally I was an active kid, but during my teen years, I was kind of one of those underweight, skinny kids who couldn't quite make the sports team, and was always, kind of got the brunt of some bullying. So I started studying strength building and started studying martial arts, and as a once constant struggle up the food chain. And so I joined the army, and I remember I was a Morse code operator in the middle of nowhere, and I remember answering, believe it or not, I found an ad in the Soldier of Fortune magazine, and it was about vitamins. And so I started taking vitamins. And so I stopped drinking beer, and then I started exercising more, and then I started meditating. And then I noticed I got stronger and my focus got better. So that I got out of Morse code operating, became a radio operator, eventually a paratrooper, marathon runner. Then I got my butt kicked one night in the bar. And
Oh
so that's
man.
it. It happens, hey, young man, you know it. So I said, that's it. Not going to happen again. So I took up kickboxing and I trained hard. I'd say a little extreme. But eventually things started falling in, and I did things I was scared to do before. I got in the ring in front of 600 spectators. I kept joined the Army Reserves and started parachuting again with the military. And I did a lot of physical things, but I did all these things I was afraid to, and this helped me later on go to school, well, university, because I was a bad student, but I learned the discipline of how to motivate yourself to sit down and study and write, and then eventually that expanded other parts of my life too. But the biggest thing was having the confidence in yourself and becoming stronger and fitter, and when I did it to other people, I know with Army recruits, I know you can do this. And I've had a guy say, "Oh, well, I'm just an F up." No, you aren't. I don't want to hear that. Get down and give me 25 more. And then and people came up to me years later, and they're very happy that I was able to help them start to achieve and do things they didn't think they could do.
Do you think the military has something to do with, I guess, you having that discipline and that confidence to help those kind of get ahead? And did when you first got into the military, did you experience like shock at all? Like, were you like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. This is like extreme, like out of the ordinary, you know?
Well, no, you're absolutely right, because I just came off a student exchange program in Japan, and I had my appendix out. And this is the first time I learned about the importance of abdominal muscles. And when I came home, I did this. It was like a summer course. It was in a full-time military, but wow, yeah, they stuck it to me right off the get-go. Like, if you were late, you paid for it. If you didn't have your clothes properly ironed, you paid for it. And I stopped making excuses, because when I went to school, I could always say, "Oh yeah, well, I lost my paper. Oh well, I missed the bus." And no, they wouldn't take excuses, and that's what I admired. So I went later on to join the full-time Army, and no, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. They told you to do something, you figured it out really fast, or you found somebody to help you, and you you did it, or else. Like,
Yeah, it's like what parents say, you do it or you do it.
yeah, it's either my way or my way. And you go, "Oh, okay." And you know what? I think it's the greatest thing. It's I didn't like it at the time, but you find something within yourself when you're scared or you're proud, whatever, you figure it out really quick, and you push past the self-doubt, you push past the pain, you push past all these little trivial things, and it's cool. You look back and go, wait a minute, I just did that.
Speaking about discipline and things like that, how do you feel about today's generation of kids in our society and the way that they're kind of being raised up, and as far as that's concerned?
Don't get me started. It's just brutal. I you know kids in general, not so bad. I'm just I don't know where I'm at. I can't stand seeing a 23-year-old who is in front of a computer all day doing nothing and complains, or he's too scared to go, to the food store. I'm disgusted at this in our youth. Having said that, I'm really impressed with, I've seen people the other extreme. Like my friend's daughter set a world record biking, like she's just the
That's
other
awesome.
extreme. There's so much opportunity now to be healthy. Like in my day, it was either on the sports team or you weren't. And they would just kind of ignore you otherwise. Where here, there's so many different things you can do. So I like to see something change, because the average young person, they don't have the drive or the fit or the pride, I think you call it.
The mental mindset to get up and get going.
It is.
And the funny thing is, it doesn't just have to do with the technology. It has to do with the parents and how they're raised at home, as well.
I
Environment.
totally. I'm a divorced dad, and I took my daughter out to the track one time. It was drama, but I got her to run 10 laps, and we went on a shopping trip after. But it was, she wasn't too happy with it, but she did it. And I said, well, look, honey, look what you did. And she was, I almost died. She insisted she almost died. And I go, no, but she still did it. And I remember taking friends of mine. Actually, I was training. Who was I training? I took them up this place called Grouse Mountain in Vancouver. And the drama. But it's funny. Later on, the parent told me, oh, they're bragging to their friends. Oh yeah, and they will brag hard. They will brag in the end. They will say, oh, you think you had it tough. Well, I was with, Sergeant Setter, or we did the Grouse Mountain, or we did this. It's actually funny later on.
Yeah, that's always good. Sometimes it takes that little push to kind of get things going.
Well, okay, so one time we we're training some recruits, and you got a load on your back, I don't know, 20, 30 pounds. And the young guy, he's Sergeant, says, I can't breathe. I go, what do you mean you can't breathe? He goes, well, I can't breathe. And so I would chat with him for a while. I go, well, they're bloggins. We've been walking for about 10 minutes, and are you still can't breathe? He goes, well, feels like I can't breathe. And I go, look back there. Look how far you went. We're not breathing. And he goes, well, it feels kind of different. I go, yeah, and you're going to push through it, aren't you? He goes, well, yeah, okay. And later on, you could see the change. He started getting this look, kind of the look, like, yeah, bring it on. But it was funny that they get that tipping point, and either I convince them or I don't. And he stuck it out. Good soldier, And it was so great to see at the end of the summer, his family would show up to see him graduate, and they're all so proud of him, whatnot. But I like to think I maybe helped that guy's life somewhere.
Yeah, like I said, people like, drill instructors, teachers, people that are in community work that help make, not just a difference in child's or an adult's life, but anybody's life is worth it. And it's a shame that sometimes it's overlooked. It's overlooked, that the kind of work that we do.
Yeah, you know what? I read a book by Gavin DeBecker. He's a security specialist for a lot of celebrities, and he said, he had a bad childhood, but all it took was that one teacher, that one adult that he looked up to, or gave him the time of day. And I've talked to people, and even myself, I had a couple of role models, and that that's all it took. I often thought, geez, if I did something wrong, I'd really I would let them down. And this is what as a kid, what I kept pushing myself to do things. So I always wanted to look good for that particular parent or adult that inspired me and gave me the time of day.
Yep, it's always about that, the time of day, and how they can influence you. What do you plan on writing a book at all about your experiences, and I guess your the program that you're doing for stomach flattening?
Yeah, I've written some books. Actually, thanks for the opening. I written
Yeah,
Stomach
yeah.
Flattening. I wrote one called Flat Gut After 50, and that's for people after 50. And then a lot of my clients were women, so I wrote another one called Fit Femme After 50, and that explores a lot of difficulties where it's hormonal problems, depression, sleep disruption, um, relationships with food, and things like that. And it's been doing pretty good. But yeah, I like to write something more about the young people and the experiences that kind of drive you from going to go in places and start developing more self-confidence.
Yeah, I used to be myself. I was a three-sport athlete growing up with TP. I actually did baseball, football, and I was also a cyclist. Or I used to do biking, and I used to be I'm a former three-time state champion in Florida in biking, actually, from years ago.
Wow, well done. Well, a buddy of mine, Mike Fenispina, he used to actually make a living biking in France. And he had his pelvis broken. The car hit him, and he took like, I don't know, 18 months to fully recover. And the guy's still out there kicking butt. He must be in his late 40s now, early 50s. But just amazing to come back like that.
Yeah, I actually then after competing for the 4 years, winning the three titles, I was actually back in 2010, 2011. I was scouted by the Paralympic Committee up in Tampa to join to turn pro, but at the time my body was already broken down, and I was like, they were getting ready to offer me a contract, with everything, as far as endorsements and all kinds of stuff. And I said, you know what, college, your mind lasts forever. I guess college is the next route. So the next best thing for me to do is to find something where I can still make a difference and enjoy it,
Wow,
and just leave sports behind.
that's hard. It's a tough one to call. That's a tough call, man.
Yeah, and I still stay active, and I still train. I just don't compete anymore.
Yeah, no, I've seen some of your videos. That's amazing. Like I said, I know people are perfectly, able-bodied that don't. But wow, that's a high-end biker. Geez, that's so. What do you do with your bike? You just bike. What's your training regimen? I'm curious because
I do a lot of well, right now I've been doing a lot of body weight exercises. So I do body weight. I do
yeah, same.
resistance bands.
Yeah,
I do the medicine ball, and I
yeah,
also have a mat that I use that I lay on the ground, and I do some stretching, some some different raises, with my legs and things like that. Because for me, my disability is all about the right arm and the legs. So I try to focus on that.
right,
And because my left arm is my good arm, so I don't have to really do much with this one. So, but focus on the areas where I'm most weakest. So just try
right.
to incorporate the workout that way. And then I also do a jog around my neighborhood, so about a mile and a half, and then I head back home every day. So
Wow, that's cool. Well, I've gotten more and more into the kettlebell and your body alignment, and I've noticed I'm because of injuries, my body's kind of gimped. So I have to, like you said, I have to overcome or look for those weaknesses and go for that body balance, that body alignment. This is for me. Um, you got to train smart. I find I'm 63 now, so I have to be a little smarter, warm up a little more, cool down a little more, and be able to suck back a bit of pride sometime when I think I can, push it.
yeah, a lot of these athletes and people that work out in the gym, I learned the hard way because I've been training for 15, 16 years, but I learned this the hard way. Now I was actually in the gym doing rows. They were about 130 pounds. So I went and I was about to do one more rep. When I did the rep, I forgot that you're not supposed to arch with your back. When I went with my back went out in the middle of the set. And
Right.
luckily my friend was there, so he drove us to the gym. But I was like, dude, I can't move my back. And I turns out I had pulled a muscle, so I had to be home for a couple months. And my doctor said, next time
Once.
do less weight and more reps. So I've stuck with that ever since.
Right on. Yeah. Well, occasionally I was doing some labor work, and occasionally there's something big, and I don't ask for help, so I get in there and I lift it myself, and then the next day I'm whatever, I pulled something and I have to stretch it out and work back into it. So yeah, I get dialed back sometimes, but that's I gotta know it. That's how else do you find out if you don't push yourself sometimes.
Yeah, it's about quality over quantity. Quantity, that's what you got to realize.
And one thing that the military did for me was, well, they test you. Like when we do paratrooper training, they take it to the extreme. And unfortunately, some people think they have to work out to the point of exhaustion. They have to work out the point of pain. And really you don't. I found when I dialed back a bit, I got better because you're just telling your body, I need a little more out of you, and encourage the growth. You don't destroy the body. Like you don't want to completely trash it.
No, you only have one body. You got to take care of it.
Oh, for sure. And it's funny because I'll watch. I remember the dude. He had this car, and he was always putting down my car, and he put everything into it. But in the end, his health was just going out. I know a few people this, and I said, dude, you got to look after your health. And it was all about the car. And I said, no, you sell the car. Get some medical help, feed yourself properly, exercise, and unfortunately, he's not with us anymore because he killed himself with stress. But yeah, I'm always amazed at the people. They put their bodies and their health at low priority.
Yeah, I've actually trained a few friends in the gym that have been wanting to start their journeys, and I've been able to help them lose some weight. And it's amazing how many people come up to me like at the gym, and they're like, I didn't expect to see someone like you here working out, and they're like all inspired. And I'm just like, I'm just here just like you to do what I need to do to stay healthy. Because one of the things that I deal a lot with is you're inspirational all the time, and it's like, to me it's like a normal thing, going to the gym every day, going to work every day.
Right.
But I feel like society tends to praise it more because they're not used to seeing someone like me, being out in public and doing normal things.
Well, I don't want to bore you, but I'm sorry. I think the same way because like I said, I see lots of people making excuses all the time, making excuses. And someone like yourself, you just like it's what you do. I mean, I have a friend. Um, I remember talking to her, and she says, "Yeah, she had a tooth pulled, and then she went to the Austrian Ironman competition. Like, and it's like, are you kidding me? Like, what the?" It's like, yeah, that's what we do. And I've noticed that with I've talked to former paratroopers. Um, a friend of mine he was in Afghanistan. He had a bomb dropped on him, and he survived. And it's like he calls me up and I says, "What's up, Stan?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going. I'm going hiking for 3 days. Let you know what I'm about." Oh, okay, fine. But he
That's
he
good.
he had to go through all sorts of rehabilitation. But his attitude is, yeah, why wouldn't you move? Like,
Exactly.
why wouldn't you exercise? Why it's and I guess you say the same thing. Like, and myself too. I get, it's, well, why are you pushing yourself? Well, why wouldn't you? This is your machine. This is your Corvette, man. Why wouldn't you take it out for a spin?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to, man. So what advice would you give, I guess, someone that's trying to start their journey into fitness, into building their self-esteem and their confidence overall?
I'd say get a plan, but start doing micro workouts. Like start doing that. Put the extra book in your backpack when you go to school. Park a little further away from the store. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. During the day, you can do 2 or 3 push-ups or do some exercise. You can just do little bits and pieces till it gets better and better, and just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Do little bits at a time, but keep a log. Write it down. You don't have to be, and you got to get away from this perfectionism. You don't have to be the Olympic athlete. You don't have to be the world's famous model to be improving yourself. And give
Exactly.
yourself credit for doing these little increments.
And can people, I guess, find you? Do you have like a website
Oh yeah,
or
sure.
anything like that?
Sorry, I should jump in there.
Yeah.
I'm at dougsetter.com. That's DOUGSETTER.com.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to share that in the notes of our episode once I publish it, so people can go and I guess book you. Do you do any like virtual? Do you do any virtual like
Oh yeah, I did that yesterday
calls?
morning. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun because we save a lot of time commuting, and people I find are a little more relaxed if they're training in their own homes than in the public. So it works really good. Yeah, we do virtual online and chat it up, joke around, and get into it, get the workout done.
That's awesome. And what about your books? Where can they, I guess,
Oh
purchase those? Can they purchase those?
yeah, you can get those on Amazon. The 2 popular ones right now are the Flat Gut After 50 and the Fit Femme After 50. Those most popular right now. I'm getting another one coming out soon. I'm going to call it Flat Gut After COVID. And so yeah, thanks for the introduction there.
Of course, I like I said, I encourage people, if they have like a product or something that could help others, to just bring it to light. I'm very open about that,
No, that's great. I appreciate that.
about marketing others. This is what the platform's about. It's about not just hearing my voice and hearing my journey, but I want to hear other people's journeys, and if they have other things to share, resources or knowledge, I encourage that. So
Well, that was the same. It's how I got. I was doing martial arts. I learned kickboxing, and then a friend of mine whipped my butt with jujitsu, and so I learned more. And then my back's hurting, so I went. I find like talking to people like yourself, and when we share stuff, we expand, and get better and better. So yeah, I thank you for this opportunity.
yeah, you're welcome. I thank you for being on, and this episode, I'm actually going to publish it on like iTunes, Spotify, every major podcasting outlet. And I thank Doug for being here today, for sharing his knowledge, his expertise, and I wish him nothing but the best for the future, what the future holds for him. So thank you so much, Doug. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me, David. It's big work getting up Saturday morning just to hear you.
Oh yeah, and like I always tell people, I typically have this saying called, "If I can do it, so can you," but I typically modify it when I have guests. So I typically say, "If we can do it, so can you." There's no excuse.
Lead by example, buddy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let me